The Tennessee Titans, it looks like they're going to be in for a really tough year. Ryan Tannehill is starting to regress. Derrick Henry is starting to hit that threshold age where running backs start to show a little bit of decline. DeAndre Hopkins, some people question if he's still good enough to be a wide receiver one for any team in the league. Like, there are people that really think DeAndre Hopkins is washed up. I'm not making this shit up. Go on Twitter and look up DeAndre Hopkins. Like, there are literally a good amount of people who think that DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up becoming what Julio Jones did when he got traded to the Tennessee Titans. Now, you look at this defense, it's very talented. And this is probably the most underrated defense entering the upcoming NFL season. I mean, they got a lot of talent on that defensive line. Harold Landry is a double-digit sack guy. You got my guy, Jeffrey Simmons, my favorite interior defensive lineman in the league. You got talent at linebacker. The back end of that secondary is fantastic. Cornerback is really good. And Tennessee, if you think they're going to have a top 5 pick in next year's draft, I think that you're kind of overlooking one of the most important pieces to having a good team. And that's a good head coach. Anytime you have a good head coach, you're going to have the ability to be in games that you had no business being in. Do you remember when Tennessee played Kansas City on the road last year on Arrowhead and they took the Chiefs to overtime with Malik Willis at quarterback? Tennessee, despite all the damn injuries that they had last year, still had a chance to win the AFC South the final week of the season with Joshua freaking Dobbs at quarterback, who they picked up pretty much off the street out of nowhere because Malik Willis wasn't good enough to get the job done. You want to know why Tennessee is still able to be a competitive team despite the fact that they've had injury problems that have plagued them the last couple of seasons, not having great offensive line play, not having great quarterback play from their backups with Ryan Tannehill being down? The reason for Tennessee being able to go on the road and compete with Kansas City on Arrowhead last year is due to how good of a coach Mike Vrabel is. And my homeboy Artie, part of Film Is a Art, go ahead and check my boys out. I did a guest appearance on their podcast, The Sunday Spiral, and he asked me, JT, what do you think about the Titans? Like, he doesn't think the Titans are going to be good. I said this, listen, man, like, the Titans may not have anything that excites you on offense. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is washed up, but if you think that he's washed up, I'm not going to argue with you because we'll be here all day. Derrick Henry is still amongst the top 3, top 5 running backs in the game. Ryan Tannehill, I don't think he's dog shit. When did Ryan Tannehill go from being a top 15 quarterback that you can win with to becoming one of the worst quarterbacks in the league? People be talking about Ryan Tannehill like he's Baker Mayfield or something. Ryan Tannehill is still a really serviceable quarterback. If he becomes a free agent next year, I think that there is going to be a solid market for Ryan Tannehill. I think that Ryan Tannehill, with him having DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry, should still be able to have a really good season in terms of at least being able to do what the Tennessee Titans need him to do, which is not turn the football over and be a good game manager. And you got DeAndre Hopkins, who is probably the best receiver that Ryan Tannehill has played with since A.J. Brown. Traylon Burks was a disappointment his rookie season, and there wasn't really too many dependable targets on this offense outside of that tight end they have in Okonkwo. So there's some weapons for them to work with. The question with Tennessee offensively is going to be their offensive line. Their offensive line looks awful. It doesn't matter how you Tennessee fans want to try to slice it up or try to twist it up, try to hype a couple of these guys up. Like, this offensive line does not look good. But it doesn't really matter because you got Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel, he'll find a way. If Tennessee wins anything less than 7 games this year, I'll be shocked. Incredibly shocked. Tennessee is not one of those teams that you can judge based on paper. You have to give them a couple of brownie points because they got Mike Vrabel. I think that no team in the NFL embodies the personality of their head coach better than what the Tennessee Titans do. This is a tough team. This is a scrappy team. They're going to scratch. They're going to claw. If you allow Tennessee to hang around late in the game with 2 minutes left, they're going to beat you and they're going to upset you if they're an underdog going into that game. Like, Tennessee is just one of these teams that you kind of just have to give them a little bit more respect, even though you may not like their roster because of Mike Vrabel. And I think that all of us in the live chat can all agree that Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL. You look at what Tennessee has overcome over the last couple of years with all the injuries they have had and still having a shot to win this division and make it to the playoffs. It's a compliment to how good of a coach Mike Vrabel is. Mike Vrabel is too good for Tennessee to be in the conversation to get a Caleb Williams or a Drake May. They're too good to be having a top 5 pick in next year's draft. Even if Tennessee wanted to tank, they wouldn't be able to because Mike Vrabel is just too damn good. And this defense should be good enough to keep them in the majority of games that they play in, unless they're just playing against a elite high-level offense. With how good this defense is, you don't need your offense to do much. All you need your offense to do is to at least give you 21 points, and that's it. And I think you can get that. Derrick Henry should still be really good despite not having a great offensive line in front of him. Ryan Tannehill has DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, there's talent on offense for Tennessee to have some success and to be serviceable. They're not going to have a top 10 offense or anything that amazes you, but it should be a good enough offense to get the job done. Mike Vrabel is just too damn good for Tennessee to be asked this year. Like, I'm sorry. If you think that Tennessee is going to win 2, 3, or 4 games, I think you're freaking crazy. Mike Vrabel, I'm going to give him the benefit of a doubt that even though Tennessee may not have one of the top rosters in the AFC, I still think that they are a team that should be in contention for at least the final wild card spot this year.